A very good evening to one and all present over here. I am Tejaswini and I'll be taking over the session because Daksh is unfortunately not available. So I'll be moderating the session for you people. We'll wait for a few minutes. Every other person will also be joining. Till then, I'll just introduce you that what exactly Blub World Web Talks is. So it's like a talking sprint, or you can say that speaking sprint. What will happen is that I'll be giving you, or we'll be giving you 2 to 3 minutes time slot where you have to speak up, and the topic that we have given you, that is whether homeschooling is effective or not, or whether it is effective or more effective than a traditional schooling. So you people are school leaders and eventually education masters. So you people know much better that whether it is effective or not. So in this episode, that is the 237th episode, we are here, and in the last 236 episode that we have done for this Global Web Talks, we have successfully been connected with so many school leaders who have taken up so many topics which are very beneficial for the teenagers. So today as well, I believe that the topic that we are taking, because after lockdown, I feel there's a question that whether homeschooling, because before that we didn't have this option. Even now, working from home is a thing that is coming up. So everybody wants that hybrid model, and nobody wants to go to office for all 6 days. But before that, we didn't have the option of going to office. That we have to go to school. And when we were schooling, when you people were doing your schooling, it was the time where everybody has to go to school. We didn't have an option to skip or make it in a hybrid note. So yes, I would definitely look forward to that. And one more thing, it's just a kind of thing that after 2 to 3 minutes, because just to make the session more crisp, and it's a speaking sprint, as I mentioned, the moderator of the session, Yugam ji, is here. He might be muting you, so please don't get offended. It's just a speaking sprint, and you just have to make sure that just to make people enjoy the things that you're speaking up, and it is making just a little crisp. We are just doing it. So please don't get offended. We can start off the session, and I would first like to invite our special speaker for the day, that is Arjya sir. So Arjya sir is himself is working in a brand, and we belong to the same place also, sir. So Jamshedpur is where I belong, and I was born and brought up too. So I would request you to please come in and put up your viewpoints from the same.
Okay, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are on.
So thank you so much, you and all the panelists, so given me this opportunity to share some of the viewpoints. Yes, this topic, what you have decided for the students is very early stage. I mean, still it requires a lot of maturity to understand this particular topic. So homeschooling, as you already broke the ice, the concept of homeschooling, which is initiated or maybe accelerated only after the pandemic era. You know, when the parents and everybody was forced to stay at home, and what parents they understand that schooling and the basic elementary education and the child's education, which is not happening the way it should be. So parents decided and discussed among, and also various governments they discuss, and they formed this concept of homeschooling, which is vivid and apparently going to be accelerated over the period of time. Of course, when something is going to start, so this requires a lot of maturity. So now, of course, people are talking more about cons than pros. You know that the what happened, like, because of the stereotype mindset what we all have. So what do we think that in our time and maybe prior to pandemic, what happened, like people go to school and students go to school, and they mix with variety of other students and do understand what are the challenges and how to mitigate the challenges, so that in future they'll be future ready. And with respect to the socialization I'm talking about, and of course, as far as cost is concerned and parenting is concerned, I mean, homeschooling is not so easy. I mean, parents has to flexible, parents has to take their own time out, parents has to be very accommodative. So there are a lot of pros, and of course there are mindset. That's what I said. I mean, irrespective of other specs, whether it is socialization, whether it is cost, whether it is the anxiety, whether it is the skill development, honing the particular skill, and all these are subject matters. The moreover, what I believe is it's mindset. It's the adaptability to the particular situation. Yes or no. I with the advent of lot of technology and all, it will certainly going to be a success in future. Like the homeschooling, also the organization which is formed over the world, they also believe these are the cons. So what they have done, in fact, I was going through some of the research, and what I understood, they have also formed some of the homeschooling students gather. I mean, so say for an example, in any vicinity there are say 20, 30 homeschooling students. So they of course register themselves in one, like India, if they register themselves in the NIOS, that's the body which is formed by the government of India, and they could get the access that, yeah, certain vicinity there are say n number of students, those who are studying in homeschooling. So then they arrange some of the socialization or some of the recreation or some of the facility where the students can again further mix together, and they can get the desired skill of socialization as well. That also is the thought process. So what I conclude my discussion. I mean, everybody is having a lot to say about it. So I conclude my discussion that though this approach is welcoming, and this is going to be this is going to be the future of schooling. I mean, looking at, I mean, if we'll talk about the safety and security of the children, nowadays in almost every day we are looking at some of the news that how the safety and security is getting jeopardized in the schools. So all these concept which is there and intended for the homeschooling. So I'll conclude with the advent of this technology, with the advent of this initiative, so this is going to be succeed in future. Thank you.
Definitely, sir. I would just sum up that what you said is about the adaptability cause, that obviously people are getting into the adaptability fact that previously people were not accepting it, that no, you have to be at school, and the extracurricular activities, this and that, were playing a major role, and they were not adapting the fact, because even if we see at the 1990, if we say the parents that no, you can take your students and you can pay, like take your students and be with them at home and still they'll get the same education, they'll never accept it. But now eventually they are accepting it, and there are so many organizations, as you said, that NIOS and everything, they are giving options. So yeah, it is there. It has all pros and cons, as you said. So next, I would like to invite Mrudushi ma'am. So Mrudushi ma'am, as director of State Ahmad Jaburia School, ma'am, a very warm welcome to you. I would just take over. You please take over the mic and please.
Thank you, first of all, for to the Blub Talk for this wonderful opportunity. To just mention that this is for the very first time when I'll be speaking at a public forum. So yeah, the topic that we are touching today is it superficially, if we see, it seems like a very simple question whether the homeschooling or the traditional schooling, either of them, which is the more effective one. So, as Sir mentioned, Arjya Sir mentioned in his speech, that both of the schoolings have their own pros and cons. What I would say is that it's not about choosing one over the other, but it's more like which one suits the child best. For some, according to their needs, their circumstances, homeschooling can be better, and for some, traditional schooling can be better. Like Sir talked about India, so like uh, homeschooling have been nicely encouraged in some countries like USA, UK, or Germany, France, Australia, but then they have very strict rules and regulations to for the homeschooling. In India, if we see, so it's not as such legalized. We do not have any authorized plans for or policies for homeschooling as such. But then post pandemic, as you said, that people now want to work in the hybrid mode, and as Sir also said, that with the advent of technologies, I think we'll be able to adapt homeschooling nicely. So now, when we talk about education, I would say that education it's quite a restricted term. I would say more. I would focus more on learning than education, because what I feel is that education happens inside the box, and learning, it can happen anywhere. And homeschooling being the best example for providing free spaces to the children to learn and to grow and foster their love for learning. When we talk about homeschooling, we more talk about the personalized learning approaches, because if I, as a child, I might not be interested in physics, but I might be interested just in maths, and I would not like to read physics. And that's what I think NEP is also focusing on. So it's more of a personalized learning approach. It provides students a free space to foster himself, nurture his creativity, and also that pressure, or say the peer pressure, doesn't exist when we talk about homeschooling. And the child doesn't have to rush with the class key. Oh, that person is there, or that friend is there, so I also have to go to the same pace. That's one thing. And but what I feel is that homeschooling also comes with a lot of challenges. The first and the foremost is that it comes with a higher degree of commitment from the parents. The parents should be tightly committed to the students, their children. They should be able to provide those resources, or maybe those expertise, or maybe those facilities, which might be not available to the child at home. Um, Second, when we talk about the traditional schooling, I think it's more based on the standardized curriculum. And but what I see a con as that it takes as the one size fits all approach, the traditional schooling. The best part about traditional schooling is that it provides the chance to socialize. It provides a chance for the student to, build his 21st century skills. Now, to sum it up, because I have very limited time, so I feel it's very difficult to answer if homeschooling is better, or whether the homeschooling is better or the traditional schooling. It's just about, the goal is the same: to build a capable individual, to build a principled human being, I would say. So that's all. I mean, the goal is to help the child grow. That's all. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. And yeah, you said it right. The goal is to make the child grow, and it's eventually very important because we have seen that the concentration level and what the child or what the children are doing in online classes is not hidden from anybody. That what they are doing, just switching off the camera, going here, then there, roaming here and there. And so the parents have to be very active if they want to have that culture of homeschooling eventually get accepted in India. They have to be very strict towards it. They're okay from this to this hour. You have to sit and study like we do in schools because we have strict teachers there. So yes, I totally agree to it. And eventually we have seen all that in lockdown, that what we do, what even though when we go to offices, when it's hybrid mode, we are here and there, and when we do work, we are focusing. But that doesn't work with schools. So I would definitely agree, and I am still listening to all of the thoughts that what people are putting in. So yeah, it's like very practical that yes, this has already happened in India, that we have such example that if this already happened, we all have experience at some point of time. So yeah, this topic is eventually very interesting to talk about. And next, I would like to invite Dr. Chandrakant Singh, sir. If you can please switch on your camera and please take over the mic.
जैसा कि आज का टॉपिक है होम स्कूलिंग, तो जो राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति में जो नया प्रावधान आया है, उसमें शिक्षा को स्कूलिंग का जो है स्तर है, उसको 4 लेवल में बांटा गया है। जो पहला लेवल है नर्सरी, केजी, अपर केजी, फर्स्ट एंड सेकंड, एक ग्रुप इसको बनाया गया है। दूसरा ग्रुप है तीसरी क्लास, चौथी क्लास और 5वीं क्लास का। तीसरा ग्रुप जो है एलिमेंट्री का, वो 6th, 7th और 8वीं क्लास का है। और जो चौथा ग्रुप बनाया गया है वो है सेकेंडरी और सीनियर सेकेंडरी क्लास का, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th। तो इसमें जो पहले 2 ग्रुप हैं, नर्सरी से 2nd क्लास तक और 3rd, 4th, 5th का, यहाँ तो होम स्कूलिंग का कोई औचित्य है ही नहीं, क्योंकि उस स्तर तक बच्चों में एनर्जी लेवल इतनी ज्यादा होती है तो उसको आप कैमरे पर बैठकर उनका फोकस शिक्षा की तरफ खींच नहीं सकते हैं, क्योंकि हर शिक्षक भी उतना काबिल नहीं है कि उन सभी बच्चों को अपने साथ मोटिवेट कर पाए। तो उनकी एनर्जी को तो आमने सामने बैठकर ही चैनलाइज किया जा सकता है, उनको सही शिक्षा दी जा सकती है। लेकिन उसके ऊपर के जो 2 लेवल हैं, 6, 7, 8 और 9, 10, 11, 12, यहाँ पर होम स्कूलिंग पॉसिबल है कि वहाँ बच्चों की समझ काफी हद तक विकसित हो जाती है और उनको इस बात की समझ आ जाती है कि शिक्षा उनके जीवन का बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण पहलू है। और अगर उन लोगों ने इस पर ध्यान नहीं दिया तो आने वाला जो इनका जीवन का समय है वो बहुत ही कष्ट में बीतने वाला है। क्योंकि जो हम अपने बच्चों को स्कूल में भेजते हैं उसके पीछे उद्देश्य यही रहता है कि वो शिक्षित हो जाए। शिक्षित होने से आशय ये रहता है कि उनको ज्ञान हो जाए, और जब हम बात कहते हैं कि उनको ज्ञान हो जाए तो उनको जीवन में क्या क्या करना है, कब कब करना है, कैसे कैसे करना है, उसकी दक्षता हर मानव में आ जाए। क्योंकि मानव जन्म से लेकर मृत्यु तक जितने भी काम करता है उसके जो मूल में छुपा रहता है कि वो खुशी पूर्वक निरंतर जीवन जी सके। लेकिन सामान्यतः जीवन में निरंतर खुशी पूर्वक जीवन हर व्यक्ति जी नहीं पाता है। कभी वो सुखी होता है, कभी दुखी होता है, और समाज ने उसको ऐसा समझा दिया है कि जीवन सुख दुख का ही मेला है, तो सुखी और दुखी होना हमारी नियति है। जबकि वास्तव में ऐसा नहीं है। अगर हम लोग अपने जीवन की वास्तविकताओं से रूबरू हो जाएं और अपने आने वाली पीढ़ी को भी करा दें तो जीवन को निरंतर सुखी पूर्वक जिया जा सकता है। तो मेरा बस इतना ही कहना है कि होम स्कूलिंग पहले 2 लेवल पे बिल्कुल संभव नहीं है। हाँ, ऊपर के 2 लेवल पे निश्चित रूप से ये संभव है।
थैंक
धन्यवाद।
यू सो मच सर। ये डेफिनेटली आपने जो कहा वो बिल्कुल सही है कि छोटे बच्चों का अटेंशन स्पैन ही 10-20 सेकेंड्स का होता है और उनके लिए उनको बिठाना और उनको पढ़ाना पॉसिबल बिल्कुल नहीं है। बट यस, वी आर ट्राइंग आवर बेस्ट। अब तो मुझे ऐसा नहीं लगता है कि प्ले स्कूल्स या कुछ भी, दीज आर नॉट ऑनलाइन। अभी तो ऐसा प्रैक्टिस वी डोंट हैव इन इंडिया ऑल्सो, दैट वी ट्राई टू गेट इन फॉर 1 hour ऑल्सो। हम बच्चों को स्कूल भेजते ही हैं व्हेन इट कम्स टू द एलिमेंट्री स्कूलिंग। सो यस, आई टोटली अग्री टू इट। एंड बड़े बच्चों को फिर भी बिठाया जा सकता है, बट छोटे बच्चों को तो आई डोंट थिंक इट्स वेरी मच पॉसिबल फॉर अस टू डू दैट। Yes, so I would now like to invite Ramamani ma'am. Ma'am, please take the mic over, and I would request you to please share your thoughts on this.
Very good evening to all the experts and all the dignitaries over here. Yeah, the topic is quite an interesting one, and actually, it's a debated topic as far as we say. So, as per all the experts, whatever they have said, very much right. Both the methods have their own pros and cons. And what is happening is when you look at homeschooling, yeah, India, we know the COVID-19 was a greatest thing when we have seen how we had the homeschooling, and parents literally were complaining, because as Sir said, some time back, that we are still into the traditional thing and we still think in that way only, that yeah, the school should be actually having a 5 hours thing, we should be there. Yeah, if you look at the pros, pros and cons, then I will say that yeah, homeschooling, yeah, it goes along with the child's pace, intelligence, and learning style. As one of the dignitaries said, that learning is more important than getting educated, right? So that's also right. Flexibility as scheduled adjustments can be done as per the thing, and parent and teacher can give a focused attention to one-to-one. Nowadays, we have the Planet Spark and many more apps like that where you have such type of schooling done. One thing what I would like to add to that, I think homeschooling will reduce the peer pressure, bullying and all social conflicts and negative influences. In a way, negative influences from outsiders, I mean students, but negative influence cannot be stopped in the social thing, when you look at the social media, that needs to be curtailed. We need to take care of that. Family bonding, yes, COVID-19 is the best example which we see that family bonding increases with homeschooling. Yes, it's cost effective also. A lot of money doesn't go. People are at home. They can take care of this. But, and very important thing what I find is autonomy is there. Parents control. Parents control on the curriculum also is there. Values, socialization. But when you look at the cons of homeschooling, yeah, you never know. Parents may be impatient. They don't have that much time for the children. Time management is a big problem for them. They may be working. Motivation is also they're lacking there. Sometimes you find that, as one of the experts said, that internet can be a basic problem here. Because in India, we found, when this homeschooling came up in COVID, that time many places, they had internet issues and all. This is the next thought. I mean, in the next 4 to 5 years, it may happen that homeschooling will come up in a great way. because people are now looking at all these things in a broad way, So it may happen that what is happening in US now may happen in India very soon. But I think that's, each one has its pros and cons. One very important thing is limited resources we have here. When you talk about the cons, that specialized teachers may be restricted. Socialization, children may not get socialized. They may get socialized in a wrong way, Interaction is not there between people, because I have seen in COVID times that parents literally had to ask the children to meet on Zoom, especially as one of the experts was saying just now that for the preschool, it's very difficult, So the interaction between peers is not there. So that may be one of the basic problems. And then still we don't have standardized evaluation patterns. Now, when we talk about the traditional schooling, yes, socialization opportunities are there. You have access to equipments and facilities and teachers, quality teachers.
So I'll just sum up that what you were saying, that eventually the traditional schooling क्या होता है कि वहाँ पे socializing is obviously very much, and when it comes to this part of time, India is not at all developed right now. If we see so that we can start off something which is that homeschooling pattern. Yes, there are organizations. The Planet Spark, as you mentioned, there are organizations who are doing it from the time of lockdown, and they are doing it quite well. They are giving that extra education to all of the teenagers or all of the students. They have even started it for corporate people, that they can get communication sessions and everything. But definitely that is a whole different concept. I feel there's no comparison. We can say that there is a traditional schooling can be better. It's a debated topic, as you say, that we can have a long hour debate about this, that whether traditional school can go well or whether homeschooling can go well. So I totally agree, and thank you so much, ma'am, for giving your thoughts. Next, I would like to invite Farzana ma'am. Farzana ma'am, please unmute yourself, and very warm welcome.
So when talk about homeschooling and the comparison between the traditional method and homeschooling method, so I would like to also add up my points being the parent of both the kids. Like recently, I delivered a baby. I already have a toddler. So, being experience of being a mother, I will talk about the perspective. There are pros and cons in both the method, because one, if I will talk about the homeschooling thing during the pandemic, because we owe a preschool as well. So during the pandemic, we went with online classes. It was a hit show for a remote place like Assam, as in a remote place like North Lakhimpur, where we are residing right now, because it is difficult for us to get good educators in terms of language and communication. Because the classroom talks about the student, it should be student centric, not teacher centric nowadays, according to NEP. But again, at the same time, when we talk about now the present scenario, when we are dealing with the original method of teaching and learning in the classroom itself, it is also going to be beneficial for those students, because during the pandemic we have seen that some students came out to be introvert, which was lacking in the student during the pandemic area. But now that is being coped up with the physical activity. For example, sensory activities we can do and indulge in the classroom. We are allowing students to touch vegetables and fruits when we talk about the pre-primary grade, and they are going to feel the vegetables and talk about it. They're going to have the sensory power, which is going to develop their fine motor skills. So both of the methods are going to have its own pros and cons. But the conclusion is that in future, I think with the individuality of the parent's choice, there will be a blended learning and teaching method. So that's what I wanted to share in today's talk. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, eventually the blended thing is trending now, that people also want to get in 3 days here and 3 days work from home. Same goes for students also. 2 days week off they want. Saturday, Sunday. They don't want to go to school on Saturdays. Now they have this thing because I've seen my cousins, I've seen kids in my house who are like, no, today is Saturday. But I also remember that we had some extracurricular activities previously when I was a kid. So we used to go to school, and then we had the Sunday sessions, extra sessions, this and that classes, and we were all happy about it. We're not even thinking about that, okay, fine, I want it off. So yes, the blend is coming in, and eventually that will be helpful. So next, I would like to invite Mr. Prasad, sir. Sir, please unmute yourself, and a warm welcome, sir.
The question is, little tricky, whereas our educators have answered already. I would like to give my comments on that, and maybe I am agreeing with most of the points what our educators have told. Now, the corona has made us to learn how to teach virtually. that is a kind of boon for us because of Corona. Now, going forward, traditional schooling may lose its essence. I can say that. See, maybe most of us, all of us, we have come through traditional schooling only. We have learned many more things that there is no doubt about that. But the time is changing. So, because of the virtual classes and because of many other reasons, homeschooling may come into the existence. When I was a kid, there was a debate: is the television a boon or ban? Like that. Now the homeschooling is a boon or bane. Also, we are discussing at this point of time. So television has become the part of our lives. In the same way, homeschooling may also become the part of our lives. Only challenge with in front of us is we all have to equip ourselves. Hello, am I audible, ma'am? We all have to equip ourselves to face the challenges because of the homeschooling kind of things like that. Otherwise, we will not be able to be in the system like that. So, obviously, at the same time, from now, we have to see that one. If schooling is coming to existence, as an educator, how to make it more successful like that. That is one of the challenge which is in front of us. I think I'm clear from my side.
Yes, definitely, sir, because this is a tricky topic, as you said. Because we can never come, I don't think so that we all can come to a conclusion that this is the best, this is the best. Eventually, there will be
Yeah.
a clash that, okay, no, at some point of time, this is the best, and at some point of time, this is the best. Eventually, I got so many thoughts from all of you where I can see that everybody has different thoughts. So now that we have
Yeah.
got everyone's opinion, I would request everyone that if you have anything that you want to discuss, any question that you want to ask, any discussion that you want to have, the floor is open for you, and then we can have a discussion on whatsoever you want to do about regarding the homeschooling, whether it's more
I have
effective or the traditional care.
I have a question, ma'am, actually. So during this Corona time, hello? Yeah.
Sir,
There
yes,
are
I
so
can
many
hear you, sir.
people,
Please.
yeah, they started, they started thinking of having virtual schools like that. So I have little idea about that one, having a virtual school in India, and maybe that is nothing but called homeschooling kind of thing like that. So what are our laws saying about this homeschooling and the virtual schooling? May I get some information from all of you and you?
So I would like to add a point here. So I don't know how many of you are aware about Dreamtime Learning. Lena Usher, the founder emeritus of Billabong High Internationals and Kangaroo Kids. So she has recently founded this Dreamtime Learning, which is not kind of, but I would say India's probably first online school, and that's how she is working. And I heard in one of her podcasts that she offers just 2 or 2.5 hours of schooling, and rest the entire day is with a kid in order to however he wants to utilize it. So I
Okay,
think with this thing we might have some growth.
okay, good. So we have already started. Maybe now to establish such kind of schools, what are our laws saying, and how can we start such kind of schools, for example, and who are the organizations really supporting for that? Maybe if we equip that knowledge, it may be useful for us in the coming future.
So anything in order to start, like of course there is there is step one that we all need to take, and in order to have more people adapt it, we need the experts. It's
Okay,
not just that okay, we can merely give this phone in the hands or the laptops to the kids and we ask them ki, yeah, you continue. No, there has to be a proper guideline, there has to be a curriculum, there has to be some standard whatsoever. Like they should be able to make out what kind of usage should be there.
right.
So, may I add something in this?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Sure, sure.
So, the first point which needs to be understand is mostly it's a misconcept that homeschooling is a virtual schooling. See, homeschooling is not only the virtual schooling, but it is more of a parent. So what it mean for the parents has to be master of all trade and jack of all trade and master of none, but here it is master of all trade. That kind of confidence, the parents, those who are confident on that part, they can only go for the homeschooling because it requires lot of inherited inherited skills which has to be I mean disseminated to the students or maybe the child, so that the value system and the socialization, everything has to be taught by the parent. Again, a debate which is coming is that uh, say if both the parents are working, say husband and wife, then whether they should go for the homeschooling. So that's a debate. I mean, whether wife has to take an off from the office or hybrid or work from home kind of, or husband, then only they can concentrate on the study of the children. That's what the second. Now what I mean, when they discussed with me, I was going through some research and I found it is definitely a lot of misconception that we are thinking it is only virtual and online, which is not true actually. It's like it is one on one. I mean, it's very systematic, and the skill and competency. I mean, students, I mean, children might be good as uh, Mrudushi has shared that children might be good at something. I mean, if some students or some child are good at cooking, say for an example, so they can make their career in cooking. Now that days has gone. I mean, when parents also were thinking of, I mean, only doctors, engineers. Now things are been changing. So the skill and competencies are getting added. So to answer to the question which has been raised by Prasad ji, I mean here, I mean another misconception is that whether homeschooling is recognized. I mean, what will happen and how to get the certificate? I mean, whether he or she will get admission into the higher education or the schools or colleges. So all these are in the point of discussion now. And the organization which I shared, that NIOS, they are thinking on that. Now, it's difficult in India. I mean, however, in abroad it has been already make very streamlined, but difficult in India because of these things are not very adaptable at this point in time. But however, the parent, those who are intended for their child for home study, they can go for registration, and once getting registration, there are different institutes where they can go and appear the exam, and it's a valid exam, valid certificates. And in foreign institutes, like I know one of the institute in California, they are accepting homeschooling. I mean, being of course they're the concept of security is concerned, so people are definitely going for home study in most of the US and UK kind of. So these are all conceptual correct. I mean, yes, the institutes are there. I mean, the organizations are there, those who are providing valid certificate, and child can go for the higher study with these certificates. So just to add it, probably I think I could make some sense out of it.
So to this, I also
Mrudushi
have
wants to come in.
Yeah, I have a question, sir. Being into 21st century and we are talking about 21st century skills, do you really think that homeschooling can better work with 21st century thing, whatever?
See, you only answered this question. I mean, when you started your discussion, what you said that all the child today are not similar. I mean, child are born with different skill set, different mindset, and because of the advent of technology, they also very early stage they also chose their career, and I mean may not be very vivid, but they thought of, I would be like a musician, I would be like a chef, I would be like a cricketer, or I would like, I mean, whatever. I mean, they are in process, they chose their career, and now the parents are also not very fussy about the doctor engineer concept, in India. I mean, whatever I'll say, it's a pride that my son or daughter getting admission into some of the engineering colleges and the medical colleges. But these things are definitely going to change with time. I strongly believe it is because of the avenues of a different kind of career opportunity which will be coming. And also the point, we cannot debarred by that, the security and the safety and security day by day is getting jeopardized everywhere almost. I mean, we are fortunate, we are, I mean, I must say we are fortunate here. But if you can go through all the newspaper or maybe the print media or the social media, they can understand how being targeted, so all these are matter of fact. I mean, as a parent first, what we are concerned, about their well-beings. Second, we are concerned about their skill and competency. And third, parents are also getting educated and they are being very competent over the period of time. Now they are master of everything, and that's the call for the hour. So they have no other option but to master of everything, because you can't see, in fact, if you look at the other side of it, you can't get good tutors also nowadays. Now who is opting for the tuition, or who is opting for this private tuition? Those who are left out with the mainstream, mostly. I mean, there are very few those adapt with the heart and mind that I'll be teaching students and all. So these are all definite things which needs to be looked at. Yeah. So am I making sense?
Yes, but still,
Ah, yeah,
there is.
it's a point of discussion only. I mean, there is no, I mean, what Prasad sir said, there is no right and wrong. I mean, we can't say it is yes or it is no. The time will say whether it is yes or no. And in foreign, in abroad, we have already seen that some of the yes which is coming.
So it comes to us also, maybe soon.
But yes,
We have to be prepared for that.
yeah, I'm agreed with Mrudushi that it's very early. I mean, we can't say today. Only
Yes, yes,
conceptual. I mean, just imagine in last few days only we are understanding what is homeschooling is all about.
yes.
Half of the population, they even don't know whether homeschooling is existed or not. That education is also not there everywhere in India. अच्छा ऐसे भी होता है, that's what the concept which is coming, so it's required lot of involvement, lot of education, lot of parenting, lot of, I mean, gut feeling and lot of confidence of the parents. Yeah.
But then there is also one thing. So with Indian mindsets, like if we see, so parents, Indian parents mostly, they are more into assessment part. So how do we check the progress? Traditional schooling, like we have this thing through various thorough tests and exams, we are able to check the progress. But what with the homeschooling then? Because what we see as homeschooling is not that structured.
True, and the competitiveness would not be there. You rightly said. I mean, when I said it is very early, I mean, I'm talking about pros and cons both. I mean, everybody, all of us, we are talking about pros and cons. It is because we don't know even. I mean, the competitiveness, the socialization, and these are all question marks today, which is also the skill which is required. I mean, tomorrow the child is going to the bigger colleges and all, the higher education, or maybe the organization where he or she is going to start, or maybe the business which somebody is going to be start. So then the PR skill and the relationship building is also extremely important, and then it's a concern. So some of the concerns, some of the theories are there.
But then how if we like it's already in the progress, although how when we merge the personalized learning with the traditional schooling? I know some of the organizations or some of the companies which are working on personalized learning approaches for the students, and they are merging those curriculums into students this schooling.
See, again, if we'll talk about the LMS part of it, learning management system, at the module-wise learning, So if you'll cross one module, then you can go for the second module and the third module, fourth module. Once you will successfully complete the first module, then you can go for the second module. So advent of that, like if you'll talk about Coursera, if you talk about Udemy, if you'll talk about all these courses, they are also becoming very popular with this concept. I mean, all these what I mean, if let's talk about prior 2020 and after 2020. It was not there at all before prior 2020. Very rarely we can go for this, and we are talking about cost benefit and all. Now today, all the companies, they are first looking at something like this. Yes, so let's adapt. So this is what happening to children as well. I mean, if I remember correctly, there Google one concept white something they have
White
started
hat
with
dreamer.
some coding and all.
White hat
So
dreamer.
yes, so these are the advent, they are the technology. They are there in ways they are thinking like this. So in India, we are adapting still, but it will take time.
Hopefully anything that dance like
I mean, whatever, the change is always difficult, adapting to changes is something which is resistance and is difficult. And first of all, the entire concept has to be uh, uh, populated amongst everybody in India and abroad. Once the people will be educated, something like this happening, then only, another point why it is going to be success, I believe. The quality of education in most of the schools is deteriorating over the period of time. So once this quality of education, there are few schools those who are giving good education, and there are most of the school the education quality is deteriorating. As for the parent teacher meeting and all, we are discussing on that. So if that happens, then again too competitive. Why to put in some school where children are not learning the way they should learn? So let me take this initiative and I'll take the ownership of my child. That is also some part which will be coming in future. These are the pointers which for the discussion I am saying, which will come in future.
जनाब, एक प्रश्न मैं भी पूछना चाह रहा था।
सर,
आज ये जो चर्चा चल रही है,
हाँ
तो
जी
क्या
सर।
भारत सरकार की ऐसी कोई नीति आने वाली है कि होम स्कूलिंग को भारत में भी उसको जल्द से जल्द लाने की कुछ योजना उनकी बन रही है क्या? क्योंकि तो मैं भारत की राजधानी दिल्ली में रहता हूँ। पिछले 24 साल से यहाँ एक विद्यालय चला रहा हूँ, लगभग 2000 स्कूलों का लीडरशिप कर रहा हूँ। एक संस्था हमारी प्राइवेट लैंड पब्लिक स्कूल ट्रस्ट, उसका मैं राष्ट्रीय महामंत्री हूँ। अब तक दिल्ली में इस प्रकार का कोई कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं। और आपने कुछ बातें बड़ी अच्छी कही कि स्कूलों में जो शिक्षा का स्तर है वो दिन प्रतिदिन बहुत ही शीघ्रता से गिर रहा है। और उसका सबसे बड़ा कारण है कि शिक्षकों की ट्रेनिंग जिस प्रकार से होनी चाहिए और शिक्षक के अंदर जितनी जिम्मेवारी होना चाहिए, जितना वो महत्वपूर्ण दायित्व को निर्वाह करता है, उस प्रकार की समझ और उस प्रकार का दायित्व उन शिक्षकों में नहीं है। ये एक बहुत बड़ा कारण है। तो मेरा प्रश्न वही है, क्या भारत सरकार होम स्कूलिंग के बारे में गहराई से सोच विचार कर रही है?
जी, एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन डेवलप हुआ है। उस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का नाम है नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ ओपन स्कूलिंग करके एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, जिस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का माध्यम से अभी बहुत सारे स्कूलों में सारे स्टूडेंट्स को वो पॉपुलेट कर, स्कूल में जाके वो एडवर्टाइज कर रहे हैं, स्कूल में एजुकेट कर रहे हैं। और वो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन अभी आप जैसे आप शिक्षा में इतना दिन से है, और आपको आप अगर जैसे आज के बाद अगर जाके आप थोड़ा सा उसके ऊपर रिसर्च करेंगे तो आपको भी पता चल जाएगा। इस तरह से इसका पूरा पॉपुलेटेड और सबको शिक्षा देना बहुत जरूरी कि ऐसे एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है जिस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन काम कर रहा है। उस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का जो ऑब्जेक्टिव है, जो लक्ष्य है, वो है कि किस तरह से हम होम स्कूलिंग और ट्रेडिशनल स्कूलिंग दोनों को पैरेलली चलाया जाए। इसको किस तरह से और अच्छी तरह से हम उसको प्रोग्रेस के द्वारा ले सकते हैं, ये भी उसका मुहिम है। पर ये बहुत ही बेसिक से बहुत अर्ली स्टेज है अभी। अगर मैं देखूं तो इंडिया में बहुत सारे लोगों को मालूम ही नहीं कि ऐसे एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन भी है जो इसके ऊपर काम कर रहा है।
देखिए, मैं एक चीज और आपके संज्ञान में, आप सभी पैनलिस्ट के संज्ञान में लाना चाहूंगा। नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ ओपन स्कूलिंग, ये बहुत पुरानी संस्था है। और इसमें ना एक ओपन बेसिक एजुकेशन करके एक एफिलिएशन देते हैं ये लोग। उसकी एफिलिएशन मेरे स्कूल को पिछले 15 साल से है। लेकिन मैं आपको बताना चाहता हूं और आप भी जानकर बहुत ही आश्चर्यचकित होंगे कि पिछले 15 साल में एक भी बच्चा उसमें एडमिशन के लिए, दाखिला लेने के लिए मेरे पास नहीं आया। जो नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ ओपन स्कूलिंग है वो सेकेंडरी और सीनियर सेकेंडरी लेवल पे बहुत ज्यादा कामयाब है, लेकिन जो एलिमेंट्री लेवल तक है पिछले 15 साल में मेरे पास एक भी एडमिशन नहीं हो पाया है।
तो ये देखिए, ये एग्जाम्पल का जहाँ पे मैं अभी रह रहा हूँ, जिस जगह पे अभी मैं काम कर रहा हूँ, वहाँ पे जिस स्कूल्स में अपने बच्चे पढ़ते हैं, वहाँ पे रिसेंटली एक दिन मेरे बच्चे आके बोले कि बाबा ये ओपन स्कूलिंग क्या होता है, और ये क्या होता है कि होम स्कूलिंग क्या होता है। हमारा 2 11th स्टैंडर्ड के स्टूडेंट, उन्होंने इसको अडाप्ट किया है इस गवर्नमेंट का स्कीम में, और उनके पेरेंट बोल रहे हैं कि हम उनको घर में बिठा के बेहतर इंजीनियरिंग और मेडिकल का कोचिंग दे सकते हैं, और उस तरह से। सेकेंडली मैं बोला ऐसे मैं उनको समझाया ये, देन प्रिंसिपल से भी मिला जाके कि क्या है, क्या कॉन्सेप्ट है ये, ऐसे कि स्कूल में ये अवेलेबल है क्या, ऐसे। वो बोलते कि आज के ज़माने में छोटे बच्चे जो है, जो जो आपने जैसे एलिमेंट्री स्कूल के बोले थे, ये 3rd से लेके 5th और 7th क्लास तक, वो छोटे बच्चे क्या करते हैं कि उन्होंने स्कूल जाना भी पसंद नहीं करते, क्योंकि वो बोलते हैं कि स्कूल जाने में ना मुझे बुली किया जाता है, और मुझे इस तरह से, सपोज कोई एक स्टूडेंट्स को ज़्यादा बुली होता है आजकल, ये बहुत कॉमन हो गया है। तो फिर वो चाइल्ड आके जब पेरेंट्स को बोलते हैं, देन पेरेंट्स अभी उसके ऊपर रिसर्च करना भी स्टार्ट किए। अगेन आपको ये बोलता हूँ, आप जैसे शिक्षा में है तो जानकार हैं कि लास्ट 15 साल से ये है, पर हमारे जैसे लोगों को तो अभी अभी मालूम चल रहा है। तो हमको इसके ऊपर ज्ञान ही नहीं है। अगर हमको ज्ञान नहीं है, हम जिस फील्ड में है, तो बाकी बहुत सारे लोग हैं जिनको ज्ञान नहीं है। तो हमारा ये जिम्मेदारी बनता है एटलीस्ट लोगों को ज्ञान कराए पहले, उसके बाद फिर इसको प्रोस एंड कॉन्स में बात करें। अभी तो ज्ञान ही नहीं।
Like me as a moderator listening to all the topics, like it was very interesting though to get into the fact that okay, अभी सबको नहीं पता है. Obviously, I agree to the fact when Mrudushi ma'am also said, when Arjya said कि अभी बहुत सारे लोगों को नहीं पता है. They don't know exactly that ये exist करता है. We know, and because we are in the sector right now, so we know that there's a thing called an iOS. एक open schooling है, home schooling है, and the teenagers right now they are knowing. In fact, वो चीज अभी it's not that much that people are getting aware about it, but yes, there's a dilemma कि whether it will be as great as traditional schooling or not. And eventually, us as a team choosing the topic, this was the reason, because I know education sector में रह के ये बहुत बड़ा question है. And there are so many organizations also we see कि अब बहुत सारे बड़े बड़े college, in fact when we see all the IIM, IITs, when we are taking the names, that they are also considering courses for corporate people who are already working, that they can also get in this फॉर्मेट कि वो कोई एक्स्ट्रा कोर्स करना चाहे. सो इनके बेनिफिट्स भी है, and इसका pros and cons, as we said, that the both parts is there. And I was very fortunate to listen to all of the speakers, Chandrakant Singh sir also. So it was very fortunate to listen to you telling that yes, admissions उतने नहीं है. There are many other factors which are there. Parents are not considering it because सबको चाहिए, we want to get into the best. And when it comes to awareness, I think that BlubWorld का जो initiative है, that is BlubWorld Web Talks, but it goes to teenagers and so many parents that we are connected to, so many school leaders that we are connected to. We are adding some awareness every time when you're having this session on Wednesday. So even all the topics that I am being a part of, always it's like that, okay, theek hai, I am also learning something. So eventually everyone is learning that. So thank you so much to everyone. And it was very fortunate for me to host this session and get a part, like be a part of a discussion where everybody has so much knowledge and where I feel that I'm too young to just taking a part in these sessions, but I'm very fortunate. Thank you so much for your time, ma'am. Thank you so much for your time, sir. And I would look forward to have more sessions with you people. So our team will be connected with you. Thank you so much and take care.